Good evening, meteorologist Bob Acanfrio with today's tropical update for Monday, August 27, 2012. Tropical storm Isaac ready to make its way in the next, we're looking at landfall approximately about 24 hours from now, a little later than that, probably 24, 30 hours from now across the southeast Louisiana coast here. As of 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time, we have maximum sustained winds 70 miles an hour, movement to the northwest at 12. We had a little jog to the west and to kind of resume that northwest movement at 12. Starting to slow down just a little bit, and that's really going to have to watch for this slowdown as it heads towards the coast. Maximum sustained winds at 70. We probably have a hurricane as we speak now. Hurricane hunters are finding a stronger and stronger system, so finally, after all this time, and unfortunately before landfall, Isaac is finally getting itself together. Not the perfect, and I'm going to show you on satellite, not the best looking storm of all time, but a large system, and it's slowly going to strengthen here, and it could even strengthen a little quicker right towards landfall as it slows down, which is bad news here. And I'll show you that it's still a fragile system in a way, but it's definitely much better organized. 26.4 north, 86.2 west, 255 miles southeast of the mouth of the Mississippi River right here. We now have no more hurricane watches or warnings for Florida. Those have been discontinued. We have a tropical storm warning up all the way from the border of Alabama-Florida border to the Usilla River. Hopefully I said that right. And of course that includes Pensacola, Panama City, Destin, and so forth, Apalachicola. Then we now have our hurricane warning from the Alabama-Florida border all the way to east of Morgan City, and then a small sliver of a hurricane watch here west of Morgan City, I think to Intracoastal City. And then we have a tropical storm watch farther to the Louisiana-Texas border here. So that's where we're at now. If you're in a hurricane warned area or in the cone, you probably should have had your preparations done by now for Isaac. And the story on Isaac, well, let's jump to the visible satellite here. So this is what we've seen all day here. We've been dry slotted here to the east. Now for Florida, boy, I mean, the west coast of Florida, southwest coast of Florida, you've really been lucky with this system. Nothing. Hardly any rain. A little squall here and there. Really, you've been in this dry zone of Isaac, and really, it's been wonderful. Opposite, though, if you live along the southeast coast of Florida here, especially the Miami, West Palm, I mean, all the way up to the almost up to Cape Canaveral here along the east coast, we've had this persistent, and it's finally losing its grip on the area. It's persistent line of convection here, this feeder band from Isaac. It's almost like a dry line setup between the moist flow here, southeast winds here, a little convergence zone here, and then the dry area cutting in here with southwest flow. And we've had this set up in 10 to 20 inches of rain. I'll show you the radar here across southeast Florida, just inundated with flooding. Pretty bad situation down there. But again, it's Florida. You wait 3 or 4 days and it'll look like it never rained. For those of us that live in Florida, we know that. Anyway, so this dry air that's been bothering Isaac, finally Isaac has been able to guard itself against this dry air and finally has a nice little core going on here. You can see convection trying to wrap around a developing eye wall here. And there you go. These last few frames really show this really starting to tighten. The maximum winds have shrunk down in here. And we actually are probably right now have a bona fide hurricane on our hands, a Category 1. Now, does it continue to strengthen? It should, but again, you see how close this dry air is in here. And this kind of stuff gets fragile with these systems. If it can close this off and the dry air stays away, we're going to continue to strengthen up into landfall, probably to a Category 2 at landfall. If that dry air gets back into the center here, collapses everything, then we don't. So that's what we're really going to watch out. Needless to say, nonetheless, the biggest thing with Isaac is going to be surge. You see how big this circulation is. Storm surge, especially on the east side of this system. And unfortunately, that does look like the New Orleans area to Mobile. It's going to be the worst part, probably rivaling Gustav in 2008. So if you're around for Gustav, that's probably the kind of storm surge we're going to get with this system. All right? So that's how we have it there, and that's what it's looking like. So again, storm surge and then inland flooding is also going to be big because unfortunately, Isaac's going to be nearing the coast, and he's going to slow down for a day or two. And that's going to be bad news for rainfall. So inland flooding and coastal flooding, storm surge, biggest things. Wind, we'll have to see. You know, the jury's still out on wind, but just those things alone is making Isaac a dangerous storm. Put a little color on here, and again, you can see starting to try to wrap it in there, trying to get this thing going here. Again, look at all this dry to the east. I mean, like I said, southwest Florida coast, west coast, Tampa. Yeah, it's been a pretty bunch of piece of cake with this system, right? And so now here's what I was telling you about the rainfall. This persistent feeder band here along the east coast, and especially, you know, South Florida, southeast coast here, all the way up to the Cape, just got killed today with rain. I haven't seen the last reports, but I'm pretty sure there's some areas close to 20 inches in here. Finally losing its grip, some of this dry air trying to punch east. Again, I would watch for tomorrow with some destabilization here, as if we pop some sun out, expect some more strong storms here across the peninsula of Florida. And again, you can see the beginning band starting to make its way across the western panhandle here and starting to get closer to Louisiana as Isaac begins to approach. This is a nice little graphic from the southeast Louisiana. You know, we know hurricane warning in effect, inland tropical storm warning in effect. You know, here's the possible gusts here, New Orleans area almost up to 80, 90, and then our storm surge here. Let me try to slow this down. Hang on a second. Let me get out of this. Try to just get the storm surge thing on here. I don't think I can. I hate that it constantly moves like that. But anyway, you can see the rainfall. You know, we're talking about 15, 20 inches of rain. And then again, if go back to the storm surge here, possible. Again, New Orleans area 60, 80, gusting to 95, and then storm surge 5 to 8, 8 to 12, 7 to 11, and then 6 to 9 here along the southeast and coast here of Louisiana. So that's going to be the effects here on Isaac. Again, storm surge pretty big. Again, points east, coastal flooding, high, you know, Mobile Bay, you know, Pascagoula here eastward, and, you know, the Gulf Shores area, moderate to high coastal flooding. And then as we move eastward, it gets a little less. Still, we're about low to moderate here from Pensacola to Fort Walton Beach. So that's where our coastal flooding is concerns. Inland flooding, if we could get this in here, let's see what we got going on here. So basically right now we got a low impact here in this area. Again, it'll go higher as we get, and then a tornado threat. It's going to be there. I don't think they're showing anything. They're kind of showing a low, a little more tornado threat as we go into Mississippi here. And again, radar, looking at this, the center's down in here, and you can see bands starting to come ashore here, and it's only going to get worse as we go through the night and through tomorrow. Models, they've come into better agreement. This thing is coming into southeast coast of Louisiana. Everything has tightened up. National Hurricane Center is right on consensus. We even have the Euro right by the mouth of the Mississippi now. It's come closer. GFS is right in here. We only have one outlier now. Well to the west is the GFDL. You could just throw that out, and everything's clustered right here along the southeast Louisiana coast. And again, it moves west of New Orleans, is going to be worse than east of New Orleans, because if this comes in west, more storm surge. And that's really what it's looking like. It's going to come just west of New Orleans. So again, for them, from New Orleans to Mississippi, all the way to about Mobile Bay, and along the southeast coast of Louisiana, is probably going to be our worst storm surge here with Isaac. So be aware, if you're in a flood area like that, storm surge is going to be big with this system. And then flooding, inland flooding is going to be very big as well. That's it for my update tonight. Stay safe out there. Good luck for those of you in the hurricane warned area and along the northern Gulf Coast. And stay safe. Have a good night.